in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where the territory's administration sealed several offices on Monday, including the headquarters of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, an Access Bank in Wuse Market, a Total Petroleum station in the same area, and an FIRS office in Zone 5 due to an alleged non-payment of ground rent. The PDP, in a statement by the party's acting national chairman, Umar Damagum, described the action of the FCTA as the highest irresponsibility from the government, while the FIRS described the act as malicious and unprofessional, as members of their staff had a face-off with the FCTA. Well, let's take a look.
Hey! Come on! Come on! Open your hand! Open your hand! Open this gate! Open this gate! Guys, stop fighting now! Put them out! Put them out! Put them out!
All our offices in Abuja listed in this letter, we paid ground rent. In fact, for this particular one, we paid 2,364,003 naira 26 kobo as ground rent covering the said properties. So we don't know why they refuse to acknowledge the money that was paid, why they refuse to issue receipt for the money, and they also went ahead to carry out this rascality, as my colleague said, because this is what they have done. They've only invaded our premises for no just cause. And like we said, we are demanding an apology from FCTA officials who came to carry out this rascality, and they must explain to Nigerians why they chose that option.
I mean, you know, the FIRS, well within their rights to demand an apology. We saw this news, especially with the FIRS, saying that they are not owing, and they demand a public apology from the minister and the FCTA administration. Well, following the altercation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met with the chairman of the FIRS and the FCT Director of Land Administration and issued a 14-day grace period to defaulters. He also issued the same grace period to property owners who have not yet registered their interests or obtained the minister's consent to complete their requirements. The Minister of the FCT, N5k, has also extended the 14-day grace period for all FCT property holders to pay their right of occupancy and certificate of occupancy bills, warning that failure to comply could lead to the revocation of their titles. Well, let's take this reaction from Dr. Udo, who wrote to the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And his statement reads, "Dear Honorable Minister, Governor Wike, I write to you as a concerned citizen and member of the public. Sir, you have consistently prided yourself on being a loyal party man and have often stated that you personally funded the People's Democratic Party during times when others abandoned it. Given this, I find it perplexing that the same party you claim to have supported financially is now reported to owe several years of ground rent to the FCDA, an issue that has reportedly led to the sealing of the party's national headquarters. I respectfully seek clarification on how you were funding the PDP, yet such critical financial obligations were left unattended. This matter raises serious questions and deserves honest answers. Thank you for your attention." Concerned citizen there, Mr. Udo. I mean, he asked really, pertinent questions. Yesterday, I watched Bode Judge on the show, on television, and he was talking about the fact that this weekend, you pride yourself as, the main funder of the PDP. How is it that this, your ground rent for your PDP headquarters had been owed for this amount of time and hasn't been paid? Rufai, you're saying that because you're cracking up so much. Go ahead.
I mean, so I think you have to answer that question, but I know that person
from Bode George and this man.
That person was just trolling him. But let's come back to the matter. See,
yes.
If you go and check Abuja as we speak, there are a lot of people living in homes ground rent have not paid. Once you are not on the political spectrum, people can overlook these things. But this PDP case was because of the political spectrum. don't get me wrong. I'm not saying do not pay ground rent. I'm not saying don't violate yourself. But we buy. The truth has to be said in this country. No matter how much you try to keep your documents intact, when people want to mess you up politically in Nigeria, they will do it. Is it today PDP had ground rent issues? FIRS have come out and said they paid.
Yes.
Why wasn't the payment ratified? And please, I will ask the Abuja Development Council, whatever the council is, to please have a technologically based number. Once you pay, it issues as a return, and you have a backlog in their files. Why was it, some questions I want to ask, that why was it that it was when we saw Minister Wike take newspaper articles to show that the agreement they tried to have with Umba and Sheyi Makinde didn't work out? The next day was the day that the ground rent issue came up, and you had
we
people
saw Wike's spokesman, what's
all
his
over.
name again? Wike's spokesman yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that this is not politically motivated, and that they have.
I'm sorry, with due respect,
they
what do you
also
expect Wike's spokesman to say?
It's not
He will say what Wike says he should say. That's why he's a spokesman.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't listen to my intellectual analysis. Do not listen to
Larry, right? Is that
I mean, I don't remember. I mean, it's not as important to me as anything.
Okay.
I mean, I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't dignify spokesmen.
Okay.
I don't talk to spokesmen. I talk to their bosses.
Yeah.
So the truth has to be said. Yes, I don't.
Sorry,
I don't talk to
continue.
spokesmen.
Yeah,
I talk to
go
their
ahead.
bosses. So the truth has to be said. That it is incumbent on us to bring to equity. If we are coming to equity, come to equity with clear hands.
Yes.
I am not absolving those that have not paid ground rents. All I'm saying is all of, and that's why this morning, you know the real hero in this matter? President Tinubu.
Yes.
President Tinubu, look at this.
Yes.
You brought about a sense of maturity because you know the implications, and that's why you quickly said, let's extend this for a 14 days grace,
period, yeah.
which was a great sense of maturity in all of this.
All right.
Because if he didn't do that now, they will say, oh, President Tinubu prevailed over the disgrace the opposition is facing and all of that. So kudos to him on that. But the PDP, I think fights within their folds have decimated them so much.
Yes.
And I don't even know if there's a general secretariat that can harmonize all of things. You have to get all your papers and also go and ratify and pay your ground rent.
All right.
It has to be said.
The PDP is saying that it's the highest form of irresponsibility for the government. If they are owing, I believe they should still go ahead and pay. FIRS has asked for an apology. We're waiting for an apology. And we need to be sure that these rents that are being owed are not really owed. Dr. Abati, because of time, let's take another story now. Well, following claims from opposition parties that the National Assembly acts as a rubber stamp institution, Senate leader Okweyemi Bamidele on Monday dismissed the claims, highlighting a series of interventions carried out by the National Assembly in the overriding public interest. The Senate leader said the Assembly engaged in over 39 discussions with the executive regarding the 2024 tax reform bills, which he stated took 6 months of intensive scrutiny before being passed. He also noted that the 2025 appropriation bill introduced on December 18th, 2024, was not passed until February 13th, 2025, all of which he said underscores the legislature's commitment to thorough engagement and due diligence. Well, this is all coming after former President Goodluck Jonathan drew a comparison between the present and past National Assemblies in Nigeria. The former president made the comparison last Wednesday during the Champions of Nigerian Content Awards dinner organized by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Well, let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
Somebody like Lay Meba, the originator of that bill, that group also is supposed to be recognized because they've done well. And that is the time the National Assembly was a National Assembly. And if you look at this local content bill, and of course you know that in 2000, the NDDC bill, That NDC bill too was vetoed by the National Assembly. They vetoed President Obasanjo. Normally in other countries, it's the president that veto bills. But in Nigeria, somehow, in our process of making laws, it's the National Assembly that veto. The president, if the president don't like any bill and you don't sign, in 30 days, the National Assembly will meet, and if they get to third by counting, not by voice votes.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan, when I saw this video, what did I say? Wawulens. Well, we see Goodluck Jonathan here, really outspoken. I mean, this was last week, Wednesday. But we saw the story that, the opposition leaders have been attacking the National Assembly. I'd like your comments about what the Senate leader had said in comparison with, our former president.
There should be no controversy over this. What they say, in simple logic, is that perception is reality. When the State National Assembly started, both the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, both publicly with their own mouths, pledged allegiance to President Tinubu. And they said that anything that the President wanted them to do, that's exactly what they will do. And the public, will see that they have followed that pattern so consistently that at the APC National Summit, in fact, they turned the occasion at the Presidential Villa Banquet Hall into a session of the National Assembly, whereby the Senate President himself moved a motion that President Tinubu shall be returned unopposed and that he would get an automatic second term. Guess who seconded the motion? It was the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So that's the perception that they have created. And the Nigerian public has arrived at the opinion that, this doesn't seem to be a very robust National Assembly. It's a National Assembly that genuflects. However, Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, APC, Ekiti Central, says that what they have been doing is constructive engagement and that they adopt behind the scene, engagement with the government, not through confrontation. Then he cites the example of the tax reform bills, 39 engagements he talked about. Look, we all were here when almost the entire North, both governors and civil society leaders, rebelled against those 4 tax reform bills as originally presented. So it was as a result of pressure. It's not because of the ingenuity of the National Assembly. Didn't Oyedele, who led the team, didn't he come here to say that, look, even some of these lawmakers were invited to meetings and they did not show up. But, Senator Bamidele is majority leader. So what do you expect him to say? But if he looks at what he's saying, if he gauges this, weighs it against public perception, he will say that Nigerians believe that this is an over-friendly, rubber stamp, Tinubu-nized National Assembly. As to the other matter about Wike and Wadata Plaza. Now, okay, it's not just Wadata Plaza, FIRS headquarters, as you mentioned, Hebrew Hotel, NAPTIP. The thing with the PDP is that the timing of it, ahead of the NEC meeting, the circumstances in terms of Wike's issues with the leadership of the People's Democratic Party is what has made people to say it looks so suspicious. It looks politically motivated. That said, we should make the point that he has not acted, however, outside the law. The timing and the circumstances may seem suspicious. Because these same owners of properties in Abuja, when they have houses in London, they have houses in the US, they obey the rules. They pay the regular tax, they pay all the charges from the state. But if it is Nigeria, the elites in Nigeria have a sense of entitlement. And because they have a sense of entitlement, they think they are above the law. Were we not talking yesterday about how nobody, whether individual or institution, should think that they are above the law? The intervention of the president is welcome.
Yes.
The president has given 14 days. We're talking about 4,794 properties.
Over 4,000 properties.
Even within those 2 weeks, the FCTA does not have the capacity to manage that influx. If people now decide, okay, let us go and pay this ground rate, I think they should be given more time,
right.
And it is gratifying that Emperor Wike of the Federal Capital Territory has a boss.
All right.
Who occasionally can say, no, don't do this.
Give them time. Yes.
You know, do it this way.
All right.
It's very good that President Tinubu gave direct orders
so we gave
to
him
Wike.
President.
We like to see more of that. We don't want to have the
Come
impression that we have two presidents in Abuja.
Yeah. Jagaban.
Only one man can be president at a time.
Absolutely. Jagaban has spoken. We'll take another story now. A viral video that has sparked outrage captured the moment a policeman demanded either 5,000 naira or 5 liters of petrol from motorists for failing to provide proof of the electronic central motor registry. The officer confronted travelers along the Benin bypass. In the video, one traveler firmly told the officer that demanding an ECMR enforcement was illegal, but the officer insisted, telling the traveler that he could make a call. Let's take a look.
Yes, what's the issue, sir? CMR is illegal. It's illegal.
You can make call.
I'm not making any call. What do you want us to do so we can leave here? Because we're going far. I don't have time to... Sorry?
5 liters of fuel.
What's 5 liters of fuel? What is that? There's no police station here. So what does it translate to? How much is 5 liters of fuel? That's what I'm asking you. So you want 5K from each of the cars here?
You know yours.
They will not do anything.
That'll be this.
You want 5K from each of us, Abi?
Okay, so I'll give out 3 liters.
We are together.
What about the other person? What about the other person?
It's coming.
My grandmama will go back.
Go and bring 3K. Give it to him. Let us leave here. Whose one are you holding again?
This man, he's told I said you should go and bring 5,000. Say no, we bring 2,000.
Please now. You said listen to me. I don't listen to you. I don't say to you.
After we I hold the money, I'm giving you right away.
Vimbai, this video has sparked outrage, and understandably so. Yeah. I mean, first of all, I had to put this video out there. I'm sure Muyiwa Adejobi has seen it as well because he's responded to some, comments as well about the Nigerian police force. But we have to also make sure that this man is an actual police officer because, I mean, look at him really negotiating and counting money in broad daylight. Vimbai.
I stand to be corrected, but I believe that the EMCR itself, what he's asking for, is currently suspended. Because when it was introduced in 2024, there was outrage around its enforceability and several other issues. So the document he's actually asking for is currently not a compulsory document that a motorist has to display or provide to the authorities. So that's number one on that. Number two is, I don't know what we're going to do about the level of impunity with certain rogue policemen. Of course, we know it's not the entire police force, but every single day we are seeing stories or we hear experiences of people who are confronted in these situations. At least, thank God, this man was not aggressive. In some instances, we've seen them become aggressive, and we shouldn't be. The police is supposed to be your friend. Yes. We shouldn't be terrified. Now, this guy, he looks disheveled. He looks. The real question is he a real policeman? But even if he is, OG, we all know the system, that they have goals and targets. They have to report back to Oga with a certain amount every day and so forth. It's a whole cabal that's happening within the police force. And I hope they can find a way to get to the bottom of it. But the foundational issues here are the welfare of the police. But we also ask ourselves, with this level of indiscipline, is welfare enough to take people back? Because once you get used to living in with certain bad habits, they become cultural. So you wonder, okay, fine, if their welfare is addressed, will they be able to wean themselves off of some of this easy money, easy tax that they've now become so brazen in demanding from people? Very quickly on FCT and PDP building, I'm actually quite curious to hear from Senator Saliu Maman Kofi, who's the owner of the building, of that Wadata Plaza. Of course, he has PDP as his tenant, but he's a PDP member himself. I wonder what the nature of the agreement is between them, and truly, in 28 years, why this money hasn't been paid. It's strange. It's a very strange case. Yes, there's the impunity committee around it of the fact that, oh, people don't pay ground rent, so it's become a culture. Fine. I think it's good that Minister Wike is putting an end to that because people should pay their ground rent. However, I'd love to know what the internal, is there an internal squabble with the senator? What really is going on with the actual property owner of that Wadata Plaza? Then last but not least, OG, 477 bills have been introduced in the National Assembly. Of those, 13 have originated from the executive and 464 have been private member bills. 89 bills have been passed. However, we find that this National Assembly spend more time debating whether a slum or ancestral lands on the way from the airport are an eyesore, whether voting should be compulsory, whether all manner of other unproductive bills. But when we see a bill coming from the executive saying we need a new national anthem, woo!
That is it.
It just woo, just like that. So this is what. This is why empirically, I need to reiterate. We can say rubber stamp because there are some real bread and butter issues, some very serious bills. We congratulate them on the minimum wage bill, for example. Yes, that originated from the floor. But in general, I think the treatment given to the executive bills is the same treatment that should be given to private member bills with the same sense of urgency.
All right. I wanted you to chime in, Rufai, on the police officer.
The police, something, Oji, what do you want me to say? Oji, see, Vimba said it all. The truth is, we are not condoning bad behavior. Please don't get me wrong. A police officer doesn't have a right to act and extort and collect and all of that. But let's look at the conditions this police officer. You pity the police officer. Some of them, their boots are torn and all of that. What's the welfare? I keep saying I did a lot of work for CRAN, Criminal Reporter Association of Nigeria. You need to see the days where we have to hand out checks to families of police officers that died.
Yes.
It's one of the most painful sights.
Yeah.
So I'm not condoling this, so please don't get me wrong. But please, with due respect,
true, we have to look
at
the welfare of the police officer. Yes, yesterday on Sunday it was. Muyiwa Adejobi put out a tweet saying that, don't hate police officers because there are just very few of them. But when you see police officers like that, and it's like almost a recurring thing that we do on What's Trending. Dr. Abati, a quick comment on this.
When this Inspector General of Police assumed office, he made it clear that he will not tolerate any act of indiscipline. And under his watch, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, we have seen cases in which the Nigerian police force has had cause to discipline police officers, either in the east or the west or the north, who are engaged in bad behavior. There must be consequences for bad behavior.
Yes.
Poor welfare cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, be an excuse for bad conduct. This particular police officer, I was looking at the screen trying to see if his name is there, but he was wearing a jacket which will have covered his nameplate. Yeah. But his face, I assume that the Nigerian police force has pictures. They will know the location where he was extorting money. He should be disciplined.
Yes.
An example should be made out of him. He is abusing the uniform of the Nigerian police and by extension disgracing Nigeria.
Yes.
It's a sovereign state that has given him an assignment.
Absolutely.
Whether it's poor welfare, if the welfare is too poor, we argue for poor welfare here.
Absolutely.
And we say policemen deserve better.
All right.
But if he's tired of the job, he can go and look for another job.
Absolutely.
He can become a vulcanizer.
Yes.
He can go and become a mechanic.
Where's the other job?
We can know.
He can go and ride Okada or Keke Marua.
All right. We will continue.
We don't want bad eggs.
I like that point, and I support you, Dr. Abati. And we will continue to highlight these police officers. Just warning, we will display your face if you collect money from motorists. We'll take another story now. Should we head over to France? Where French President Emmanuel Macron has denied any domestic dispute with his wife, Brigitte, after a video appeared to show her shoving his face away as they arrived in Vietnam for a diplomatic visit. The footage, shot by the Associated Press news agency on Sunday evening, showed Macron's plane door opening to reveal him being shoved in the face by his wife. Well, according to the president, it was a joke, like they always do. The office of the president also downplayed the incident, citing other videos that had been misinterpreted as showing him sharing a bag of cocaine and confronting the Turkish president. I mean, what can I say about the story, Vimbai? All I know is Say no to domestic abuse. That is my own. Say no to domestic abuse. But if the president say this is a joke, it's a joke. I mean, he's the one that was being slapped in the face. So it wasn't like it was the wife that was saying, it's a joke. Oh, please, I did not beat my husband. Or I did not slap my husband. It's the man saying it's a joke. So if it's a joke, it's a joke. But he did appear startled when the door opened. And so, we'll follow up on the story. He's been under fire of late. If it's a joke, it's a joke.